What's going on, people? Today I wanted to do a re-review of the FLYDIGI VADER 5 Pro and talk about how it's held up after 6 months of use. I'm planning on doing the same thing with the other controllers I've reviewed, but I still get asked a lot of questions about the VADER 5, so I figured I'd start with this one. I've had this controller since it was released, and ever since then, it's been the controller I've used the most. Let's start with the sticks. One of the best features of the VADER controllers is the adjustable stick tension rings, but there was one issue. After months of use, some people found that the tension rings would loosen over time. So if you had them dialed in exactly how you like them, they could eventually move. Personally, after 6 months of use, my tension rings are still pretty firm and haven't moved at all. The good news is that FLYDIGI released the VADER 5 Pro V2, which fixes that issue. As for the sticks themselves, the VADER 5 Pro uses Hall effect sticks, and honestly, they're some of the best Hall effect sticks I've ever used. It's true that TMR sticks generally offer higher resolution and less jitter, but in my opinion, FLYDIGI makes up for that with its own custom stick module. The VADER 5 Pro comes with 8 extra remappable buttons, 2 next to the bumpers on top, 2 extra face buttons on the front, and 4 back buttons. Another issue the controller had at launch was with the bottom 2 back buttons. They were made of plastic and sat pretty far away from the controller, so if you accidentally pressed them too hard, there was a chance they could break. At the time, there was a simple fix by adding small cabinet bumpers to the back buttons. I actually did that myself, and it worked, but after a couple of months I ended up removing them because they made the buttons a little hard to press. The good news is that, just like the stick tension rings, this issue has also been fixed with the VADER 5 Pro V2. Other than that, the controller feels really solid and well built. The 2 extra buttons on top are easy to reach and comfortable to use. On some other controllers I've used, I would occasionally hit the back triggers by accident, but that's never been an issue with the VADER 5. As for the 2 extra face buttons, I honestly didn't think I'd end up using them when I first got the controller. But recently, I've actually started using them quite a bit. I play Claw, and as someone who has been playing with a PlayStation controller for decades, I've never really been a huge fan of the Xbox-style layout because of where the D-pad is positioned. So I mapped those extra face buttons to the D-pad inputs, and for me it's been a huge improvement. Moving on to the software, honestly, I haven't had many problems with it. There's only one thing I noticed, and I'm not sure if it's intentional or just a bug. If you go into the button mapping settings and assign any button to a PC keyboard input, like F2 or spacebar, etc., the controller's polling rate gets cut in half instead of staying at the normal 1000 Hz. I've tested this multiple times and got the same result every time. The reason I think it might be a bug is because I tested the same thing on other controllers, like the GameSir G7 Pro 8K, and the polling rate stayed at 8000 Hz even with keyboard inputs mapped. I used to map the extra face buttons to keyboard shortcuts for Spotify so I could skip songs and pause my music. But after discovering the polling rate issue, I ended up removing those mappings. The Space Station software is pretty good overall, but there is one feature I wish it had: button combinations. On the GameSir G7 Pro 8K, you can map up to 3 buttons to a single button, which is a feature I really like. Unfortunately, Space Station doesn't natively support button combinations, but there is a workaround. You can still achieve the same result by creating a macro. I know the word macro tends to trigger some people, but it's the only way I've found to do this on the VADER 5. This is especially useful in games that require you to press 2 buttons at the same time to perform an action. For example, in Apex Legends, you normally have to press LB plus RB to use your ultimate. With a combination macro, I can bind that action to a single button and activate it with one press. It's not a deal breaker by any means, but native support for button combinations is definitely something I'd like to see FLYDIGI add in a future update. Well, I feel like there's not much more to say. Over the past 6 months, this controller has been nothing but great for me. If you've been thinking about picking one up with the V2 out, you'll have an even better experience than I did with all the improvements FLYDIGI has made. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. Also, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, and since you're down there, do me a solid and subscribe.